Whatever path you are on, whatever inspired you to come here today, we honor you and we welcome you. And now, our message.
Peace. At a place of surrender for just a moment, allow me to do an evocation to kind of ground, and get us centered, and get us prepared for the message today. To know that we exist within the presence of something greater than us, and we can use it. It's part of us, it goes through us, it is all that's around us, it is everything, it is one. It's God, it is Spirit, whatever you choose to call it. And I know that today, that as I surrender, as I let go of my anxiety, my fear, my senses that are anything other than spirit, as I let those fall away, anything that brings up fear, to let it go and surrender. And what is left is love. Is the sense of harmony and peace and well-being. The sense of knowing that we are one. That we are enough. That we are loved. That we are loving. That we are lovable. Know that being open and willing, that surrendering creates all possibilities, all potential. Perspective shifts to an open, loving, kind, gentle universe. So that today we may see the lessons we need to see, that we may hear the words we need to hear, that we may be in community of like-minded and to be uplifted. May this be our day today. May we surrender and may we fall into the arms of love. And so it is. Thank you. Reverend Alley has 4 pillars today. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That doesn't sound very lively. I understand, because that music, as sweet as it was, just kind of got us into that mood. So good morning.
Good morning.
Right. Okay. So thank you for being so patient with us. We've been talking about, we're moving into this bigger space, and you're probably thinking, when? Well, if you would like to know when, and if you'd like to help us, we're looking for some individuals that can share our vision and join us in our building and facilities team. So back there, I'm going to embarrass you, Carl. There he is, waving. Carl is our building and facilities team leader. And we're having a little brief meeting after today for about 10-15 minutes to talk about some of the locations we've been looking at. And we've identified a few. So if you'd like to join us in building consciousness around that, and helping us, because it does actually take a village or a tribe, a Satya tribe, to make a move like that. And all of you are needed and required, because everyone has a certain energy, a certain vibration, and without all of those certain energies and vibrations, we wouldn't be us. So we need you. So welcome and come. There's so many great things happening. I'm really excited about the Winter Opulence. If you haven't bought your ticket yet, I really encourage you to do that, because we're going to have this fabulous feast. Has anyone been to a Good Life Cafe? 2 people. Are you kidding me? 3? Okay. Well, it's my new favorite restaurant in Ogden, and if you like healthy foods, vegan options, as well as carnivore delights, everything. And so our auction's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of great gifts for you to buy. So if you would like to join us, have fun, get to know who we are, and to do your Christmas shopping, then see Heidi and get one of those tickets, because we have limited seating. So that's my infomercial. What else? Oh, the class. If as we're really deepening into this month of gratitude and Thanksgiving, I'm just so inspired and so honored and privileged to teach this class coming up on Monday and Tuesdays. We have so many people signed up. We actually have 2 classes, Monday night and Tuesday morning. If you're a serious spiritual seeker, or maybe just kind of wondering what that is, or what metaphysics are, or what science of mind is, or how you can change your thinking and change your life, then see us afterwards about the class. It might be for you. Okay, now that's really the end of my information. So this is the month of Thanksgiving and gratitude. And the theme for this month is life is good all the time. And if you go to a Science of Mind or a Center for Spiritual Living, which is what we are, you will hear this phrase. It's really a common phrase. I think every center I've ever been into says this: life is good all the time. So I thought it was the perfect theme title to inspire a sense of gratitude, because gratitude really is the most compelling and attractive vibration in the universe. Don't you love it when someone is grateful, or when you feel grateful? Because out of gratitude births happiness. It births so many things. So if you can do the simple act of giving yourself 3 blessings a day, it would be to identify 3 things that you're grateful for. If you can give yourself those 3 blessings every morning, I know that your life will shift and alter. So that's my challenge today. So I give you the homework at the beginning. Give yourself 3 blessings and see if your life doesn't shift, if your relationships don't shift, if your health doesn't shift, if your abundance and prosperity doesn't shift by this simple act. So who's willing to do that? That was a bit quick of you. Okay, so that was sort of high energy, and now I'm going to bring it back to sort of like midline energy here. A friend of mine that has a center just like ours in Cameron Park, which is outside of Sacramento, California. A good friend of mine named Reverend Patty. She has such an abundance consciousness that she actually invited Dr. Wayne Dyer to come and speak at her center 2 weeks ago, and he came. And so I'm just like wanting to get a hit on that kind of energy, because I'm liking the idea of Dr. Wayne Dyer coming to speak here. How about you? All right. So when he was there, he gave a talk, and it was a sold-out venue of 550 people. They had to rent an auditorium, by the way. Their center doesn't seat that many. And he said about this book, and today's talk is on this book, Vasista's Yoga. Has anyone heard of this book? One person, good. Yeah, it's not a very well-known book, but I think every one of you are going to go out and buy it after I share this today. Anyway, Dr. Wayne said, in studying this book, living it, and taking it all the way to self-realization will also allow you to find liberation in this lifetime. don't you just want to run out and buy it? Do you
Yes.
have any copies of this?
Right.
No. Okay, I had to hunt around for it. I did find kind of an obscure company that actually had them in stock. So I'll share that with you afterwards if you're interested, and I'm sure Lyle will be asking me where to get that. This book was written 1100 years ago, in the 10th century. And the little dyslexic, he said to Lyle, how many years ago was that if it was the 10th century? And he said 1100, so if that's wrong,
It's my fault.
so I wanted to share with you, I'm going to read a little bit. I don't usually read, but I want to, because I want to cover this. So this is Yoga Vasista, and it's a Hindu spiritual text written by sage Valmiki. And it is believed by Hindus to answer all the questions that arise in the human mind that can help one attain moksha, spiritual enlightenment, spiritual liberation. The conversation between Vasista and Prince Rama is that between a great enlightened sage and a seeker who is about to reach wholeness. This is said to be among those rare conversations which directly lead to truth. The scripture provides understanding, specific ideas and philosophy. It explains consciousness, the creation of the world, the multiple universes in this world, our perception of the world, the liberation of the soul, and the non-dual approach to creation. Why didn't we read this in school, I wonder? Oh, that's right, we're here in this continent. So, this sounds so much like Siddhartha. Prince Rama returns from touring the country and becomes utterly disillusioned after experiencing the apparent reality of the world. This worries his father, who expresses his concern to sage Vasista upon Rama's arrival home. Sage Vasista consoles the king by telling him that Rama's dispassion or depression is a sign that the prince is now ready for spiritual enlightenment. He says that Rama has begun understanding profound spiritual truths, which is the cause of his confusion, and he needs confirmation. Vasista asks the king to summon Rama, and in the court, the sage begins his discourse to Rama, which lasts for 21 days. The answer to Rama's questions form the entire scripture that is Yoga Vasista. Okay. So during this discourse, this 21 days of training or teaching or answering these questions that this young teenager Rama has, the sage Vasista shares 4 pillars of freedom, 4 keys to spiritual liberation. And that's what I want to share today. These 4 pillars, these 4 truths that can lead us to moksha, spiritual liberation. So the first one is santi, which is self-control or quietness of the mind. Quietness of the mind. Now I'm sure Ernest Holmes read this because it's just so aligns with the teachings in the science of mind. And for those of you that are taking a class, this thing called you, or a design for a new life, you'll hear this. There's a commonality between the teachings of Ernest Holmes and the ancient Sanskrit texts, the Vedic texts. So it says, when the mind is at peace, pure, tranquil, free from delusion or hallucination, untangled and free from cravings. The mind is at peace when it's free from cravings, from grasping, trying to hold on to ideas and thoughts and people and situations. So there's this sense of grasping And this self-discipline, this self-control or this quietness of the mind is loosening up on that, grasping, or trying to hold things in the way you think they need to be mentally. And it's said that all good, everything auspicious flows when you can develop this peace of mind, of not being swayed one way or another. It's saying staying central, peace and focus of the mind. It says that the food you eat, the conversations you have, the things that you involve yourself in, even crisis situations, everything that you participate in takes on this tone that everything's okay. Everything's okay. It doesn't mean that necessarily you like what's happening in the midst of a crisis, but you have a greater sense that this too shall pass. And so when you're in this place of quiet mind, you allow things to come and go, and it's not that you're necessarily aloof, but it could have that appearance. With our culture, we sort of teach and encourage drama. So this is a lessening of that reactive drama kind of tone, and a more of a, I'm really present, I see what's going on, I'm not mentally grasping or trying to cling it onto something or necessarily judge it as good or bad or right or wrong. I'm sitting here with a balanced and peaceful mind. So there's this sense of stepping back. Did anyone read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer? Do you guys just not read? Okay, well, in that book, he talks about we step back, and we're sort of taking that witness place. So that's what this first pillar is about, having a quiet mind, allowing what happens to be happening, but you're not necessarily ego-triggered by it. You're still concerned and involved, but there's a stepping back that takes place. So as you're less triggered by things, as you're more focused on what's happening, being more mindful and you're more present, this naturally births gratitude. Doesn't it? Gratitude happens when you can witness what's going on and actually see what's going on as possibly a lesson versus good or bad. It's more of a, I'm in the right place at the right time. Now I can have a certain sort of atmosphere of gratitude around this, even though it may not be what I would prefer or I choose. I can be grateful for the experience of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the second pillar is Vikara, which is the spirit of inquiry. The spirit of inquiry. So the first one is stillness of mind, and now we're activating the mind a little bit. We're becoming interested in why what's happening is happening. The spirit of inquiry. So it says, the Sisters Yoga says, what is inquiry? To inquire thus, who am I? How has the samsara, which is what is happening, the repetitive nature of the universe, why is this maya, this samsara happening? Why has it come into being? So we ask ourselves in this level of inquiry, who am I and why is this happening? So again, there's a sense of stepping back from the situation and becoming intrigued as to why is this occurring? Less reactive and more responsive. And in this stepping back, in this inquiry, why is this happening? And how does it relate to me? We develop a sense of discernment that maybe isn't at the front here when we're reactive, but when we're back here and we're responding, there's a sense of discernment. How should I respond here? How should I think here? What would be the appropriate action here? I call it conscious living, this kind of inquiry. We become engaged in life in a very conscious way, where we begin to ask ourselves questions like, is it true? What's really happening? And we begin to see that there is a law of cause and effect happening, and the reason this thing, whatever it is, it could be a conversation, it could be a happening, it could be a crisis, it could be a glorious event, but something is going on in my realm of experience, and you begin to look at why this came about. And so we have inquiry, what is this? Who am I? Why is this happening? Who is this other person? What am I learning from this? And we develop a greater discernment in ourselves as how to act and how to be. Knowledge of truth arises from such inquiry. This is Vasista. From such knowledge there follows tranquility in oneself. And then there arises the supreme peace in the self and the ending of all sorrow. Those wise individuals that take time to inquire develop wise discernment and know what choices to make. The spirit of inquiry gives rise to self-discipline, to act and think in ways that support our true nature. A certain sense of responsibility, taking responsibility for our own happiness, our own experience. Doesn't this sound like a wise pillar?
Yes.
And doesn't this sound like this could be the birthing of more gratitude? Are you getting a sense that this idea of birthing gratitude, allowing gratitude to birth through every experience would be a very good energetic to cultivate, a very good vibration to live in? This atmosphere of gratitude? Another thought about this self-inquiry and gratitude is that when we really look into this idea of who am I, and we begin to wonder why these things are happening, we begin to see that maybe I'm really, really grateful for me, for being me. And so as we can cultivate this atmosphere of gratitude, it turns back inwards to ourselves. And then we become a mirror, because that's what we all are, mirrors. And as we show up feeling really grateful, grateful for our life, grateful for our body, grateful for the words that come through our mouth, grateful for our families, we begin to live in a world that is appreciative of us. Does that make sense? So, the third pillar is santosha, which is contentment. So, what was the first one? Stillness of mind. The second one? Inquiry. And the third one? Contentment. Contentment. Being at peace with what is. So I get to step 3 or pillar 3 and I'm thinking, this sounds like Byron Katie to me. And if any of you have read any of her work, she is all about inquiry. She teaches loving what is, being content with what is. Now our ego is never content with what is, and that's fine. That's its job. Its job is to be discontent. And that's okay. But we don't have to be in that reactive place of being discontent. We just get to notice that there is some discontent. We have longings and discontent to change, and that's okay. But is there a place kind of stepping back from what's happening that we can be content with what is? Again, it doesn't mean we have to condone it or we have to agree with it necessarily, but there's a sense of it's okay. We're not going to add drama to it. We're not going to trigger ourselves into trying to manipulate and force something to happen. We step back and we practice our inquiry and we become content. Content almost sounds like gratitude. There's a sense of being okay with things, of being grateful for how it is, even if it's not perfect. So the sister says, what is contentment? To renounce all craving for what is not obtained, unsought, and to be satisfied with what comes unsought, without being elated or depressed even by them. This is contentment. As long as one is not satisfied with the self, he will be subjected to sorrow. So are you satisfied with yourself, is the question here. With the rise of contentment, the purity of one's heart blooms. The contented man who possesses nothing owns the world. So when we can be content with everything as it is, then we own the world. Then another way of saying that is, then we're at peace with the world. We're content with the world. What if nothing was wrong? That's another thought to think about here. What if there's nothing wrong? Period. Our mind is like, what? What? I wake up thinking there's something wrong and trying to figure out what's wrong? What if there's nothing wrong? So contentment births gratitude. Contentment births gratitude. And gratitude births happiness. So the last pillar is satsanga. And the way it is shared in the sisters' yoga is satsanga is to be with a holy man, a wise sage, a yogi. But as I've read through that, I see it as satsanga could be for us in today's age as being with like-minded people, being with those that are awakened, those that you respect, those that you trust, those people that are on the same wavelength as you, those people that can support you on your spiritual path, wherever that may be. And I would think that everyone in this room would be that for you. Yeah? Maybe? You don't know everyone. Maybe. I suspect that. So, to be with like-minded people that can support you in your awakening. Your awakening. That is the fourth pillar to this whole series of spiritual liberation. It says that satsanga enlarges one's intelligence, destroys one's ignorance, and one's psychological distress. Whatever be the cost, however difficult it may be, whatever obstacles may stand in its way, satsanga should never be neglected. And as I read that, I thought, yes, this is so speaking to me. I mean, it's been my mission since I was in my 20s, and I'm now 52, to create spiritual community. Like, I have a longing in my soul for that. And so it's been at the very front of my mind for 20, 30 years. And so you can become narrowly focused on what it is you want and how you're going to awaken and what gifts you're going to bring into this reality, this time-space continuum that will help yourself and those around you to wake up. Now is the time, and we are the ones. So you will do that in your own unique way, discovering your own unique gifts. So I close with this, and this is from the text. These four, contentment, satsanga, the spirit of inquiry, and self-control, are the four surest means by which they who are drowning in this ocean of samsara, repetitive history. What's repetitive history? It's what you keep on creating with the thoughts that you keep thinking. Your life. Right? If you keep on having the same old thoughts, you keep on having the same old life. If you think new thoughts about a life that you really love, you get that. Thoughts create. Change your thinking and change your life. Don't you think Ernest read this? So these are the four surest means by which they who are drowning in this ocean of samsara can be saved. Contentment is the supreme gain. Satsanga is the best companion to the destination. The spirit of inquiry itself is the greatest wisdom. And self-control is supreme happiness. If you are unable to resort to all these four, then practice one. By the diligent practice of one of these, the others will also be found in you. The highest wisdom will seek you of its own accord, until you tame the wild elephant. That's why I wore my elephant pants. Until you tame the wild elephant of your mind with the help of these noble qualities, you cannot have progress towards the supreme. Therefore, O Rama, strive by all means to cultivate these noble qualities. When the mind is at peace and the heart leaps to the supreme truth, when all the disturbing thought waves in the mind stuff have subsided and there is unbroken flow of peace and the heart is filled with the bliss of the Absolute, when thus the truth has been seen in the heart, then this very world becomes an abode of bliss. So I invite you into prayer as we end this adventure into these four pillars, into this realm of bliss that is suggested as we commit to this path. So let us turn within and let us find that place where there is peace and stillness and truth and love and gratitude. This place that is not disturbed by physical reality. This place within us, this depth, this awareness, this consciousness that is not distracted by thoughts. This presence within us that is content, it is peaceful, it is discerning, and that loves good company. Let us be that now. Take a breath. Take another one. It's so good to be in a body. It's so good to have a mind. It's so good to be having this human experience where nothing is wrong and that everything that is required for peace, love, harmony, creativity, abundance, and prosperity, everything that is required for this body, for each sentient being to have that experience, everything that is required is within. Like Kimmy said, everything is within me. My prayers are powerful. My thoughts are powerful. Everything within me is working and moving towards that which I desire: peace, love, harmony, wholeness, well-being, passion, creativity. So I know today that each of us tap into that well, that deep well of possibilities and potentialities to be and to do and to have a life that makes our souls sing. A life so authentic, so honest, so truthful, so in alignment, so natural, that we become who we were born to be on this earth plane. This is my blessing for all beings, that they awaken to their self and live that self and heal and uplift and inspire humanity through that realization. This is my blessing and my wish for all beings, now and always. Thank you.
Thank you for blessing us with your presence today and being a part of the Satya Center. You're invited to join Reverend Ali and Reverend Lyle each Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for your dose of connection, inspiration, and co-creation. The Satya Center